My name is Leonard Spencer. I lead Supplier Diversity for the Walt Disney Company. I've been in my role for about 3.5 years. I've grown to understand that supplier diversity is a catalyst for really community development. When suppliers don't truly understand that, they have to make an impact. And for us, an impact is help me understand what you do and what you do well. So that then, based on all of the things that, all of the category managers that I work with and stakeholders, I can better position you to have follow-up conversations and actually compete for that business, right? And so for me, again, it's all about, how you can communicate effectively in a short period of time so that we can have nuggets to take back to ensure that we can represent that supplier well when we're having follow-up conversations with our strategic sourcing partners as well as our key stakeholders in the business unit. I would say two things really for a diverse supplier. To number one, be patient. If you have a requisite skill set in a specific commodity and you talk to a supplier diversity professional, understand that that initial conversation probably won't win you the business. There are rare occasions where that happens. The second thing that, I would counsel a diverse supplier on is not to layer too much on or depend too much on your layer of diversity as a means to gaining entry into a corporation. What we do as supplier diversity professionals, we try to ensure that there's a diverse representation in that competitive bidding process, right? But at the end of the day, especially as it pertains to for-profit institutions, it's around who is going to provide the best service in terms of cost, in terms of innovation, in terms of nimbleness, right? That's what we're looking for, the best that the marketplace has to offer. And so thinking that because you are a diverse supplier will get you the business, that's not the case. A few common mistakes that I've seen suppliers make would be losing focus, right? And focus being, in any strategic sourcing organization, it really comes down to, in order to win the RFP, request for a proposal, it comes down to three things, right? Cost, quality, service, right? And for any supplier to be competitive in that competitive bidding process, you have to win on those, at least two of those three things. And when suppliers fail, they lose focus and they lose on 2 out of 3, right? And at that point, we're going out for another option. Another thing that suppliers, I think, do, especially diverse suppliers at times, is that they don't maintain communication with the supplier diversity team or the strategic sourcing team throughout the course of that contract. It's important because oftentimes we can help mitigate certain issues as it relates to their performance, or at least have a conversation around what needs to happen in order for the supplier to perform, as required of the contractual agreement. Another thing that we see specifically as it relates to supplier diversity is when they do decide to talk to someone, it's usually supplier diversity, and they're leaning on their layer of diversity, whatever that might be, right? And again, at that point, 9 times out of 10, it's too late. But number two, leaning on a layer of supplier diversity is never the answer. The answer is going to lie in probably one of the 3 things: cost, quality, service. If you think about it in terms of a conversation in a boardroom, and you think about the fact that you can have a very diverse set of folks in that boardroom. You can have, people who are ethnically diverse. You can have people who are gender diverse, or people whose sexual preferences are diverse, sitting around that board table. And you can have a majority sitting in that room and having a conversation without engaging those who are in the minority. And so decisions are made, conversations are made, and then at the end of the day, they can sit around the boardroom and say, hey, that was a great decision that was only made by 3 people in that boardroom. Inclusion is ensuring that everyone who sits around that table has an opportunity to contribute. And so when you have those discussions, people who are gender diverse, who are ethnically diverse, inviting them to be a part of that conversation, and also ensuring that not only are their voices heard, but they're also considered when making a decision, now you have inclusion.